What kind of team, let's say it's Jimmy Garoppolo's team, although Brady is eligible to play, what kind of team are the Patriots? Because look at some of these numbers here, Curtis. Without him, 10-5, not bad. With him, an overwhelming 160-47. Granted, a far larger sample size with him than without him, that 10-5 under Matt Castle.
You can't help but to go back to 2008 when Matt Castle took over and won 11 games and could have made the playoffs based on the record, but the division stopped them from...
Much different team,
much different team, but here's the thing. It's going to be hard to replace or win games without arguably the best quarterback to play in this game in Tom Brady. But I think when you look at the first 4 games, Jimmy Garoppolo has 4 preseason games to prepare for the season, whereas Matt Castle had to step in. Matt Castle didn't even throw for over 200 yards in those first 3 games.
Matt Castle didn't even start at USC.
My point taken. So I don't know what kind of team this is going to be without Tom Brady, because we saw them be successful without him, and I see a young Jimmy Garoppolo with time to get ready for 4 games during the year. Now, the question for me is, what is Jimmy Garoppolo thinking right now? Is this my opportunity to take over this team? Because he was drafted high. Tom Brady's getting a little older. So, again, like we talked about in the other segment, as a leader and as a player, I'm saying this is my opportunity, Tom Brady or not. It's my time to shine.
Well, let's look at what Brady has done against the first 4 teams here on the Patriots schedule, and they are the Steelers, the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Cowboys. He's 7-2 against the big AFC foe, the Steelers. Dominated the Bills in division. Has never lost to the Jaguars nor to the Cowboys. Granted, it has only been 3 games. Steve, this is a team, we talked about this yesterday on Inside Training Camp, that is reworking its secondary. You don't just lose Revis, you lose Browner as well. You have to replace Vince Wilfork with some youth on the defensive line. You have an entirely new, well, almost new backfield. You lose Vereen, you lose Ridley as well. To put a new quarterback in that cockpit, it's not as if it's just plug and play with this team, is it?
No.
But it's close?
It's going to be interesting to see, because as Curtis said, they've had all offseason to kind of prepare for this. And I'm sure Bill Belichick's attitude to these guys is, let's pretend that Tom Brady just went in and suffered a knee injury. Okay, you don't know when everybody's going to be available, so that's how we're going to have to prepare. All these other players, though, are going to have to step up. And I think in the backfield, they're going to be fine. They've got Javaris Cadet, a very solid player who comes over from New Orleans, an exciting type of player. And they have James White, the rookie from last year. But it's going to be tough. I mean, they play the Steelers, who can hang 40 points on anybody. Look at Buffalo, whose defense, they're not going to make it easy for Jimmy Garoppolo. The Jags, we see what they have. And they play Dallas, who can score points. So, let's say they go 1-3 in the stretch. They could always rally. I mean, I think all of us would expect them to rally. I think they're going to do better than that. Again, I look at Pittsburgh from when Roethlisberger was suspended. He went 3-1. Now, granted, they had a dominant defense, and we don't think the Patriots have. But I think this is the type of team that can succeed for a short period without Tom Brady, just because of the character of how they're built.
The thing that always gets me, people say, well, you'd rather miss the games in September than December. There are only 16, and they are not weighted. They all are worth the same. So whether it's home field or whether it's making a late push to make the playoffs, they all mean the same. Now, you have time to recover potentially if Brady sits out early, and you'd rather try to recover with him down the stretch than with Garoppolo. But still, I mean,
we've seen 11
finite amount of games.
We've seen 11-win teams not make the playoffs.
The Patriots, exactly. They're at 11-5 under Castle in the 1 game against the Chiefs, where Brady started but could not finish. We've seen 10-win teams in recent vintage. Say the Cardinals a couple of years ago that did not make the playoffs. The Browns 5 years before that as well. So it can very well happen.